Are you trying to find ways to rank up faster and get positive RP every time you play a ranked game in Season 5? If so, you've come to the right place. We're doing another session of ranked tips for Season 5 Kings Canyon. A lot has changed, a lot of buffs, a lot of nerfs for Season 5. And I'm trying to give you some insight as to what we do as a team to get positive RP every time we play ranked games. My name is WTF Bear 52. I am a top 25 Bangalore main. I have done two 24-hour streams, one in Season 4 where we hit Predator first. We did it in 19 hours in less than 40 games. And again, I did another 24-hour stream for Season 5 where we hit Predator and we were number 10. We were the 10th person to hit Pred this season. So if you want to follow the Twitch channel, I stream every day. The link is in the bio below. I want to give back to you some more educational content so that I can help you guys get better at the ranked gameplay in Apex Legends. So if you haven't seen the past video, I did a part 1 a couple weeks ago. If you haven't seen that, make sure to check that out. I'm doing another one to help you figure out the new meta, figure out what loadouts you should use, where you should land, what types of things you should look out for in Kings Canyon Season 5 and what things have changed. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you haven't followed or subscribed on YouTube, make sure to do that. Make sure to like this video, make sure to leave a comment, make sure to share it with anybody who might be interested in it. Again, I'm gonna leave all my socials in the description below. I stream every day on Twitch. Hopefully everybody finds this content useful, and I definitely wanna help people get better every week. And every week we're gonna drop a video to describe a legend, how to use a legend, how to use a weapon, and some more tips like this to help you guys get better at Apex Legends. So with that said, we're going to get into some tips. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Hopefully you find it useful. Thank you guys so much for the support. Love you guys. And we're going to drop into it right after this little clip. I wanted to talk really quick about 4 things that I think about when I'm thinking about Season 5 initially, as we are 2 weeks in. There's a caustic on almost every team with the buff to not have his teammates slowed by his caustic gas. Definitely a valuable addition to any team. So if you want to run a caustic, definitely do so, have one on the team. Long range gunfights, make sure to have a couple people run some long range guns, whether it's a sniper gun, G7, or wingman. Make sure you have some range so that you can get and poke into some fights. Crypto should be utilized more. I'll get into that in a little bit. We do run a crypto sometimes to combat the caustic meta, and we'll talk about that. Learn the end circles and rotate early. It's really easy to anticipate the end circles, so you want to learn those, especially on Kings Canyon where the rotations are really quick, so that you get great position on end game and able to, survive and win some of those games. So we'll get into that in a little bit. And now we're going to get into some Season 5 tips, some general tips that I think that will help you. Your Digi-Threat is going to be your best friend. So for me as a Bang main, obviously the Digi-Threat is something that I use pretty often. But now that there's a lot of caustics on the map, definitely think about grabbing a Digi-Threat where you're using a Wingman, R99, Prowler, anything like that. Definitely helpful in endgame and anytime you're finding a caustic. Have a caustic on your team. Definitely something that you should consider, having a caustic. I know that it sucks, putting yourself in a building, but definitely needed now, especially in endgame. Valuable for having somebody at least survive other people's caustic gas. Rotate out of long fights. If you're in a fight for longer than, I think, a minute and a half, you should think about rotating out. There's a lot of third parties, especially on the runoff side of the map. It's easy to rotate to fights through balloons, so definitely get out if you're feeling like you're going to get third-partied. Make the smart play. Have 2 go-to locations. So we're going to talk about 2 locations where my team usually lands, and we pick these locations because we get really good at looting. We've gotten really good at looting these locations, and one of them is Slum Lakes. So in Slum Lakes, we choose Slum Lakes because there's only 2 ways that you can really get pushed, and this is from pit and runoff rotations. You can't really get pushed from the backside. We got really good at looting this area, and we loot the front side pretty quick and are able to get into a fight if there's somebody challenging us. So Slum Lakes is one area. The rig is another area. On this side of the map, it's actually harder to get third-partied. There's not a lot of balloons on this area. and a lot of people don't really land on this side. I know a lot of people are starting to, but this is another area where you might consider. But again, you might want to pick 2 locations where you feel really comfortable landing so that your team doesn't always have to figure out how to loot an area. Here you can see we're landing near Gauntlet. This is when we play with Machin and another teammate. We usually land in Gauntlet. This is a favorite place to land, so we choose this location every time we land with him so that we know, we've gotten really good at looting this area as well. But I think one of my insights is really choosing a drop location and getting really good so that your teammates know exactly where to go. And if you have a team pushing, you guys can regroup and obviously get that practice in every time to know how to regroup together from that area. In this situation, so we have a crypto, which is really fun to use. He's got an EMP, which slows down a lot of enemies. It disables caustic gas traps. It doesn't disable his ultimate, but really, if you're pushing into a building with a crypto, you have an advantage, especially if there's a caustic down with this gas traps, to be able to disable them so they go away and you're able to push a team. So his EMP is really helpful. So there you saw us wipe a team really quickly from our rotation out of Gauntlet area, so that we were able to get early kill points. And you can see here we didn't really get into any fights, so I have 2 kill points from the same game. There's 10 squads left, and we're constantly looking at the map. So you can see me pull up the map constantly and trying to figure out the best position that we can get. So here we're thinking about artillery. We know artillery, there's really only a couple places the circle ends here in artillery, and we choose this location up top. I know there's usually people up here, and if there is, you want to fight them off as much as you can and quickly so that you can get the best position. This is one of the better positions here because you always want to think about high ground. So high ground is king and position is king in Apex Legends, and something that I talked about in the previous video. And if you want me to talk more about that, please go watch that. But here we have position and artillery. This is an easier rotation than if we were low ground trying to fight up. So we can see, again, I'm pulling up the map constantly trying to figure out, okay, where do we go? And then we agree, okay, we're going to go over to that second building because we know that sometimes the ring ends on that side. And if not, then we have a rotation that's easier because we have high ground. So you'll see us rotate a little bit early, right? There's still 50 seconds in round 3, but if we wait, there's going to be people up there already. So we want to rotate early. We have 3 points, at least I do. My teammates have, I think, 3 or 4 points at this point. So there's really no need for us to fight another team. And if we get positioned in ring, this is exactly what we need to do. Here we hear another team under us. And when you have position like this, you want to make sure that any team that's threatening your position, you want to make sure that you do your best job to get them out of their position. So here I go down, but my teammates were able to take this team out from under us. This is the team that was threatening us the most. There's another team in tunnel, and there's another team to the building to the southwest of us. But we knew that if we took out this team, there's no other team that's going to threaten us from our high ground position. We constantly talk. So here we're talking to each other. We're saying, hey, we need to get back up. We need to get back up because people are low ground. We don't want to get pushed. So if a team decided to push us, we need to get back up top because that's going to be end game. You can see in the circle, there's still some of it on top. So we decide, hey, we're going to go up top so that we have the best position come end game circle. And here again, you can see that I'm using a digi-threat. So in previous videos, I like the HCOG 1x on the R99. I feel like it chokes the spread a little bit better. But with the digi-threat, I'm able to combat some caustic gas, especially here. You can see it's not something that changed the game for me, but it's something that really helped me during this end game. So here I'm thinking about, okay, we're going to rotate. These teams are going to rotate in. I got to throw my ultimate here so I can gatekeep them a little bit because they have to have a hard rotation out of that tunnel and out of that building. So you'll see me throw my ultimate and you'll see the crypto come in, uses EMP, and we have the best position. See, nobody's ever able to really challenge us from that low ground, especially because we have high ground. They're more worried about getting into ring more so than challenging us up top. And again, here they have to fight each other to get ring position, and we are chilling like a villain and we're able to get this easy dub. Especially, there's no reason for us to drop down. So even though we get knocks here, there's no reason for any of us to drop down from this position until we know there's a couple people up or one person up and we have the advantage. There's absolutely no reason. And through this gas, using the Digi-Threat, to find people from up top, they can't challenge us. It's hard for them to challenge us up top, so we're able to shoot down on them and get this easy win. And here we again are landing near Gauntlet. This is an area again that we are comfortable looting, and we just wanted to showcase here that we are landing in the same area most of the time. I know you don't really need to see us land, so we're gonna get into some of the gameplay and a little bit more of the tips. So here we're battling for high ground here. So this hill is actually a center point for a lot of rings. So if you control this hill, a lot of the times you will get some RP. It's hard to hold without a caustic. If you have a caustic, definitely are able to hold it a little bit better. But here we're fighting uphill. We throw our ult, we EMP, we get the team down. And we think about, especially when we're looking at ring, we want to hold this as much as we can. So we hold off teams. So here we're fighting a team and we have to hold them off because we want this position. And definitely one of the better positions in the game, especially because if you think about high ground, right? The high ground is coming from that rig side, but here on this side of the map, this is probably the highest point of this map. And if you have this high point, you are able to shoot down on teams. And again, long range gunfights, right? You want to be able to poke at teams because if they're coming up from any side, you can poke at them. You can tell you can scare them off. If you shoot them a couple times, a lot of teams will just be like, heck no, I'm not going to go up there. So you want to make sure that you have some long range weaponry so that you can actually maintain position somewhere. So here we get in a couple fights. You can see us really battling to hold this top position. It's tough. Again, you got to know, if we are in a fight long enough, we're going to get third party, especially there. So we got to move quickly, especially when we figure out that ring is not there. But here you can see that we have an easy rotation out of there. There's a nice little zip now. There never used to be that zip to get across to this area, but now there's a zip from that hill to this area, which we can make an easier rotation out of. So you can see we constantly look at the map, constantly pull up the map, look at it, and figure out where we're going to go. And here, EMPing is one of the better things to do if you're not using a caustic. Definitely consider a crypto, because once you go into a fight and you EMP them, they're already 2 bars out of their shields. And a lot of times they'll try to heal up before even thinking about engaging in a fight. So if you get them off guard, it's an easy win against that team. And we think about, okay, we got to rotate back. And again, we pushed that team because we knew that was our biggest threat to our rotation. So if they came behind us, they could easily kill us. So we said, hey, we need to push this team so that they don't come behind us and kill us. And that's kind of the thought process there is, look around, make sure you know where the skeevers are. That was a team of 2. Usually there might be like one person that could threaten your position. Make sure to check your corners. Make sure to look back and see where you're rotating from. Because there's usually, even teams of 3, sometimes skeevers skeeve out and come up behind you and you don't know, and you get rotated in from the back, and that's kind of bad positioning for you. So here we're thinking about end circle. Where can we go? They have the buildings already, so where can we go where we have cover and we feel comfortable fighting? There's a team to our left and a team to our east, and so this team is pushing. We figure out, okay, are we in ring? Are we in ring? And where can we go to really, we keep moving. You want to make sure that you, especially in these situations where you're out in the open, you want to make sure that you keep moving, even if it's in a tight little space. Use whatever cover you need. See, we use this little bar so that we can kind of hide behind so that we can heal. This crypto is pushing. but we feel comfortable. He split from the team, so we really are like, hey, we need to ape this guy. We need to ape this guy. Why did he push by himself? If you see somebody pushing by themselves, you have to commit to fighting that person and make sure that you guys are all on the same team and you communicate clearly what is happening. So in this end game situation, we think we have good position here. Loba's really useful, so she puts down her ult here so that we can get maybe some better shields, especially even that Crypto's box. We knew he had a red, so we were able to get his red Evo. And again, we're constantly communicating. The Crypto says, hey, I need my 10% for my EMP, so I give him my helmet and switch off. And even though there's people shooting down or ults going off, you want to make sure you stay cool, calm, collected, so that you know what the team needs from you to be able to push a team. So he gets his EMP back. We say, hey, we need to go, so that we get them off guard because we just EMP'd them. They're weak. They're just healed up. There's one person below, so I'm talking to them. I'm saying, hey, they're below. One's below by himself, and communicating that to my team. And again, Crypto is really good because if they did in fact have a caustic, his caustic gases would have been eliminated by the EMP, and we're able to fight this team and stay together and connected and able to get this dub. I just wanted to showcase in this game us landing Slum Lakes, getting into an early fight, and then rotating out. In this situation, I get shots on this Pathfinder. My teammates are fighting the other two teammates of that path. I'm able to come in. They get down, but I'm able to come in and clean the path up and wipe the team. So in this situation, I want to just reiterate that it doesn't matter if you get knocked. There's especially early, there's a res beacon here that we know. But don't be afraid to get knocked if it means putting damage on the enemy. And having faith in your teammate. You have to have trust in your teammate to finish up the kills, even though if you get knocked. You just want to make sure that you're communicating and making sure that they know exactly how much damage you've done and, how likely it is that they could win that 1v1 or that, 2v1 or something like that. In this situation, we rotated to airbase from slums. You can see that I only have one kill point. That's okay. So we feel like it's fine if we're making our rotations and we're getting, poking into fights, right? So even though we went from 20 squads to 10 squads, we only have one kill P. We're not anxious to get RP. Again, a lot of people try to get, high kill games and ranked, and that's fine if you've already accomplished, what you wanted to and got to the rank that you feel comfortable with. If you want to go for high kill games at that point, great. But at the point that you're leveling up, it doesn't matter if you get 20 kills, 10 kills. It matters to get the kill points and the assists and only 5 points. Once you have 5, don't really think about fights, think about ring positioning. So here we're able to reposition on this team, get to a better angle. They're getting fought from a different angle and they have to drop down, and we're able to come in with the EMP, disable any caustic traps that they had and kill that team. And then we are able to get high ground. And again, we're always constantly thinking about high ground and ring position. So here we get high ground there, and then we're trying to fight this team and figure out how to get better position in the ring. So we're able to, talk this through and figure out, hey, we're not in ring here. How do we get into the best position that we can? We have this team coming from our south side, which is not in ring. We're able to gatekeep them, so that's something that you see a lot often. So this is one of the reasons you should think about rotating early into ring, is that you get teams like us here that are gatekeeping, that have high ground, where your rotation into ring is really difficult because you chose to wait till the last minute to rotate. And the ring hurts, especially round 3, even round 2, sometimes it's difficult to fight in because if you get any inch of health ticked, then you're at a disadvantage and you're usually gonna get killed. So here we kept this team. We had high ground. We jumped down because we knew that we didn't need high ground anymore. We rotate out into runoff. And again, we're constantly thinking about ring position here. So here we get ring position. There's nobody behind us. We make sure that there's only people that can come from airbase and run off. So that's where we know the teams are, and we're shooting them off. And again, here's why it's important to have long range weaponry, is because if they're coming from the right side or from runoff, you want to be able to poke at them so that they don't full send you. So we're constantly poking at teams, making sure that they're aware that we're here and that they shouldn't push us because, we're going to constantly, knock their shields or even tick them for a little bit of health. We want to make sure to maintain that position. So here you'll see us kind of, fend off some teams from our right side, our left side, do what we can to have that position because we know it's going to end in the back there. We are fighting a team to the left, so you can see me fend off this Pathfinder, and then there's a Wraith that comes up behind us in this situation, and we're able to poke at her. She gets separated from the team, so we know that we have to kill this Wraith in order for us to have an advantage. We actually get that knock on that team, so we know that we have an advantage on that team, but we don't actually full send this team because we know that if we lose this position, the team to our left is actually going to be able to come up behind us. So we decide to make this a long-range gunfight, poke at them, not full send, and they have to rotate out of that position because they don't have any cover, and we have cover, and we actually have great ring position here. They're all in this barrier, under this barrier, so that Crypto and that Lobo went down into the ravine here where the other team is. So we assume that they're going to have to end up fighting each other, especially when they're rotating into rings. So we decide, hey, let's stay back. Let's not full send. There's no point. We have points. We want to get this dub. So we want to make sure that we have, again, the best end circle position. And because we do, we can easily control this game. So here you're going to see us EMP. I'm going to throw my ult. They're going to have to climb over this wall. We want to make sure that they have a hard climb so that we fend them off really well. So you'll see us, try to check the left side, make sure nobody's coming up, and then they're going to come up and get destroyed by the EMP and my ultimate. And in this last game, this was part of our 24-hour stream. So we were Diamond 2 by hour 15, I think. And I just wanted to showcase how important it is to control the endgame circle and height. And how it doesn't really matter how many RP you have or how many kill points you have or assists you have going into endgame, as long as you have a couple. You got into early fights, you've done your long-range gunfights. You have height. I just wanted to showcase that here. So in this situation in rig, on rig side, we're able to say, hey, where is ring going to end? We have a path, so we're able to get up to this area without having to take balloon. There is a way to take balloon to this little area, and usually you have some end circles here, even though it might not end on this top side. Think about how this platform, you actually have a lot of height on, so you have a really big advantage even if it's not the end game circle. But here we had end game circle here. We're able to find the skeevers from this top side, so we're able to look down and destroy anybody who is skeeving. So we make sure to get them out of the game, because who knows, they might be able to come in and get lucky, and something might happen where they get the dub. We tell the Pathfinder here, when end circle's coming in, to set a zip so that we can be above them while they throw their Gibby ult. So here we're constantly communicating. Communication is key. I harp on this a lot, constantly being constant communication, and also make sure that you are on the same page. So we are all saying, hey, we're going to stay up here. We're going to set the zip so that when we have to go into end game, we don't really have to jump down right away. We can wait a little bit, especially if they have a Gibby ult, and you'll see here why that is and how we get this dub. But again, use the tips in part 1, use the tips here for season 5. I wanted to make an educational video for you all, so that you had something to kind of go with. And if you have any more questions, I stream every single day, and I love talking to people. I love answering your questions. If you have any more questions, any more requests for tip videos, definitely shoot me those. Leave a comment, subscribe. I definitely appreciate all the love that I've been getting on YouTube, on Twitch, on Instagram, everywhere. Definitely love you guys. We are trying to get bigger and bigger every week, trying to get better. So if you have any feedback, let me know. I appreciate the love, appreciate the support. Again, positioning is key. Use those digi threats, use a crypto, use a caustic if you have to, and go get those wins, go get those dubs. Let's do it. All right. I'll see you guys next week. I'm going to do another legend tutorial if you guys are interested. If you haven't seen any of the other ones, they'll be right here on the left side, I think. But if not, have a good day. Peace out.